Smokin Poetry Podcast is back. By the way, smoking is because we are smoking hot. It has nothing to do with having to smoke anything necessarily. We are here with my new friend, Eamon Weber.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And he is a poet, amongst other things.
Yeah.
And since poetry is part of the show, we're going to do a little formal poetry today. So why don't you tell people who is Eamon Weber and what are you doing with poetry and music and stuff?
Yeah. So my name is Eamon Weber. Right now I'm in a band called Coalesce Collective, and
What is it called?
Coalesce Collective. Coalesce Collective.
All right.
And it's like we just grab a bunch of people in the room, and I produce the music, I engineer and I mix the music, and I also write poetry. So a lot of the times I'm just like locking myself in my room, just making beats, writing, just like full force, putting myself into all this creative energy that I possibly can, I think that's where I dedicate most of my time. But yeah, no, I'm all about producing, making music, writing poetry, bring my soul.
When you say make music, what do you mean? What are you like? Are you doing the instruments, or what are you doing with?
Yeah, doing like as much as I can, because I don't want to pay anybody. So,
Okay.
so I don't want to pay any producers. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just like, I really was introduced like through freestyling and rapping, and I really love that. And I realized that if I want to like actually be serious about it, I'm gonna have to find beats, and I don't want to pay any producer. I'm like too broke for that. I'm like, it'd be so much better if I just learned how to produce. It'd be so much better if I learned how to engineer. What if I like mix it all? What if I learned how to do like everything? So I think that's where it started to really come together and make the instrumentations, make the drums, make the chord progressions, and then really just kind of speak what's on my mind from that point forward.
So when you say making music, making beats, what kind of instruments? Tell them, and what kind of stuff? Like guitar, drums, bass,
It's
horns. What are you doing?
Well, it's like anything that comes to mind, Like I think like as much as my little FL Studio will let me do, I'm doing it all, Like I have a bass at home, and I have a little MIDI keyboard, so I'll do that. I'll mess with synths, and I like sound designing, so I'll like try to like find a different kind of like weird wonky sounds that I'll mess with, and then spend 4 hours on that, and then realize I hate it all and delete everything, and then question my life. But after that's over, I'll try to write some poetry or something like that. But I really do enjoy I don't play guitar much, but my friends play guitar, and then we'll like make loops or something, and then from there like I'll be kind of left alone in my room. And then like I'll just like sit on it, and I'll make a beat, I'll do some drums over it, and I'll try to make a feel for it, and I'll just sit on it, and I'll try to
The joys of podcasting outside.
So sorry.
That's all right.
No worries.
And it makes it more fun. Anyways, do you write the tunes for the Coalesce Collective, or do you collab with it? How do you do that?
Yeah, I think it's just I really like the idea of it's just what it is, just getting a bunch of people in the room and just like splatter art if you think about it. It's just my friend is like, hey, check out this like guitar chord progression. He plays it out, and I'm like, that's cool. And then my friend RJ is like, oh, let me try to make a bass section for it. And then I'm like, okay, what if we try this? And then I start producing the record. And I start like, okay, if we have this kind of chord progression for the intro, then we can be like form that into the chorus, form this into whatever, and form it into that. So that's where we take the idea of splatter art, and then from that splatter art is when we kind of like take it and try to make a real painting with it. You know what I mean? So,
Do you have any social media stuff, YouTube or anything like that? What do you got?
yeah, I think we have an Instagram page called Coalesce Collective. You can check that out. My Instagram is Eamon_W21, so you can check that out. That's my Instagram. I don't have like anything posted anywhere yet, because like all the music I'm making right now I hate, but once that phase of my life is over, you'll definitely see like it all being released out in the forefront. But
Well, I met you by seeing you here at Jives. We're going to talk a little more about Jives in a little bit, but you're one of the regular poets here.
yeah,
And you got some good stuff, and I think you were going to share some stuff. What kind of poetry do you like to write?
anything that comes to my soul. I mean, like in like high school and stuff, we did like a lot of Shakespearean stuff, and I really enjoyed how like they did that, like all that kind of stuff, and how he really wrote it. It was kind of crazy. I mean, I could never get on like and understand it truly and like do that like Shakespearean, like really Shakespearean poetry, but I draw influences from that. My mom's really into poetry. My mom's really influenced me with that kind of stuff. She has books of like Edgar Allan poems just on bookshelves, stuff like that. I grew up Buddhist, so there's a lot of like of the teachers there that like grew up and they wrote poems, and like I read that as a kid. Like some of the nighttime stories were like poems, like kind of like poetic like stories, you know what I mean? So I kind of like grew up with that stuff. So I really just kind of like, when I attack poetry, I like kind of almost use like objects or different like feelings as a muse to get through what I'm feeling, you know? You explore like any word like, you know, lust, and you explore that word, and then you just explore what that means to you and that everything. And you just take different avenues of like what it means in lust in the context of these lights that come onto you when you're performing your jive. So when you have these dreams of being a star, you're having these dreams of not being a star, and it's like going back and forth. It's honestly like a self-exploration kind of thing, which is really cool. So,
Well, this is like the perfect segue to give us maybe an example of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is there something you can read for us?
yeah. So
why don't we? What is the first one that you would like to do called?
I don't have a name for it, but I'll just call it My Grandma Said. So
Your grandma said.
Yeah.
Well, that's the name now.
So
And why don't we do that? I'm going to step out here and let you tell everybody about what your grandma said.
Well, yeah. So there's a couple ones that I have. I'll do 2 poems, and they said they didn't mind, so I'll do a freestyle, and hopefully it's not terrible. So we got this one. My grandma said I have that glow in my eyes. I'm seeing it in others just like mine. I think that eyes that seem to glow have seen the worst parts of the dark. I think eyes that seem to glow see the vision of their mission. My eyes glow so I can see in the dark. When everything gets faded, I know I won't lose sight of the dreams that I have in my mind. That's one. And then I have
What don't we? What was that something specific that came? Was that like
Yeah.
a true story that you put into prose?
Yeah, no, that was definitely like the glow in my eyes. I've always noticed it with certain people, like my friend Israel, or like just like some people have this glow to them in their eyes that I really like feel. And so it was, my grandma passed away in 2020, but for my brother, he graduated in high school 2019. I was a freshman in high school at the time, and we're just sitting down, and it's like the graduation party, and we're going around, we're talking about it, and my grandma was like, "Oh, Maria, my younger sister's like, you're wonderful. Like, I can't wait to see the woman you become. Devin, like, you're gonna go off, be a doctor. That's my older brother. It's like, I can't wait. And Eamon, you have this glow in your eyes, and it scares me to death." And I was like, well, and like it kind of hit me. I was like, ah. And I started seeing it with friends around me where they have this kind of glow in their eyes, and it just feels like, I don't know how to describe it.
We're not talking like space alien stuff here.
No,
right?
it's not like aliens. It's not like anything's gonna pop out their eyes.
No
It's
laser
not-
beams.
Yeah, it's not like because they need LASIK or anything. It's just like, you know.
You have a good vibe.
Yeah, something
You
like
have
that.
an energy.
It's just something about it that really like struck me. So with that story came that poem, you know, just like that glow in your eyes, and I've seen it with others. And a lot of my friends have been through really dark times, and I have been myself, you know. And it's just when you come out of that, and they come out of it certain ways and certain structures, they really build themselves from that. Like, you just see it in their eyes, and it's like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I think my grandma saw it, and she was terrified of it for some reason.
Now, you just gave me 2 follow-up questions there. Because some people might be doing math a little bit, because you talked about what happened a couple of years ago. How old are you now? If you don't mind me asking and telling the world.
No, it's not a sensitive thing. Don't worry. I'm 18 years old right now.
Where are you in school?
I'm like closing in on my first semester of college at community college. I'm doing music production certificate right now. So,
What are you hoping to do with after you finish college? And
yeah,
what is your goals?
do everything, man. Great. I think I was talking about it. You know, I really want to be a full-time artist, and it's a lot of questions of fame and all this shit. And then I think I was talking with my friend. I think, you know, my end goal is to be able just to fuck around. Like, and get paid for it. I think that's my end goal. Is like just to create all the time, you know. What I'm gonna do is work myself through studios, get this knowledge of this, and apply it to my art, you know, and apply it to other arts to make money on the side, and really like produce engineers, people music, so I can get money, apply that knowledge to myself, and really develop myself and develop others, and really build a community for Colorado, and then eventually get to the point where I can just mess around, you know, like people just like will gravitate it for some reason, and they'll just like it. I just fuck around. I just do what I want to do.
Now,
And
you
that's,
said Go ahead.
It's my plan, I guess. Yeah.
You said something else that I can't ignore because I talk about it, I think every show or almost every show,
Yeah.
is using poetry to get through tough times.
Yeah.
As I often say, I started writing this purely through therapy. And I didn't think it was going to be a podcast and me doing open mics.
Yeah.
How did that work for you?
Yeah. Lot of stuff, man. Like, so, my life is kind of it ups, downs, craziness. Like I think from a young age I got into a lot of trouble with the law. Always in trouble. A lot of my friends got expelled. Like we were just like, I wasn't like a good kid basically during this time of my life. Like 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. We were just like getting in trouble all the time, just doing drugs. Just like, it's like, what are these kids doing? Like, you live in the suburbs. Like, why are you doing this? It's like, it was the craziest. And then eventually I started to like kind of mature out this mindset of it, and like realize, I have no future doing this kind of stuff. So
there's no trouble going on now, right?
yeah.
Okay. I don't want any confessions on this podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm not a.
There's nothing going
all this
on
stuff
now.
is in the past, and there's no.
It's all
I'll
over.
incriminate myself for now, but
All right, no self-incrimination on my show. If we,
oh, because you're a lawyer. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hopefully this doesn't end up
I don't
too
want
bad.
to. No, I don't want but is there some other poet? I think you were about eager to read something else.
Yeah.
What else do you got for us? What's the next one? Do you have a name for the next one?
Yeah, this one, I don't know. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff that I've written and everything, but this one is for a little girlfriend that I have, and tough times with that stuff, And,
Is this a romantic one?
yeah, kind of a romantic one.
Is there a lovely lady out there?
There's a lovely lady.
Oh, do we want to? I don't know. Do we want to? I don't know if she wants her name out there or not. Do we want to tell them?
She knows who she is.
She knows who she is. Does the world know who she is?
The world will know who she is.
Well, what's her name?
Her name's Misty.
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 You have something romantic about Misty.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. Oh, well,
Yeah, so I have
let's. I'm gonna step out so Misty can watch this with just you and not me ruining it. Let's do the romance for Misty.
Okay, so we got this one right here. It says, I like the sunrise and you like the moonlight. Maybe we could compromise and just stay up all night. People don't realize most times opposites collide. We don't live in no fairy tales, no fantasy, but maybe on this compromise and no sleep, we can get the best of both worlds. Paint the sheets with passion, these blankets just act as murals. I know it's a starry night outside these basement walls. Let's step outside and make love to these dying stars. Watch the sunrise and maybe just in the next life, we can make love to this dying life. That's my poem.
Oh, it's Misty.
Yeah.
Better like you after that. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. That's some deep stuff. I don't know how many other guys are coming up with these nice romantic.
That's my edge,
rhymes.
that's the cut above the game,
Exactly. Is Misty the gal I met here also? Or is that
no,
someone else who I met here?
No, that's somebody else probably you met. I don't. Oh, that was one of our friends, V, who.
Oh, okay.
She got in trouble with us, all that stuff, but we're not gonna incriminate anymore. But she started rapping with us. So my cousin Jeffrey was he was really heavily involved with the law, like law troubles, all this kind of like drug life, everything, And then we started freestyling together, and he ended up passing away from a fentanyl overdose at 17.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's when I really started like breaking through, and then like writing all the time, because he died in front of me. He was like, I was 16, he was 17 there in the hospital bed, tubes in his face.
Oh my god.
And then he died, and then 1 year later, 10 days after, my best friend Tom committed suicide. So it's just back-to-back death, and like you're like 18, and I'm like, I just outlived two of my best friends. You're like, I you're right about this, bro. Like, what's happening here? So eventually, and all that stuff from the past, getting in trouble, I think the poetry is how I pulled through, and then it also how I pulled through with romantic wise, like these like deaths, all this stuff. It affects you in a lot of relationships, like you don't know how to communicate, like communicating is hard because like you don't want nobody to see that parts that you've seen before. And eventually, when you read out that poetry, then you realize there's some beauty to that pain that you have, I think that's the best part, is the perspective that is on this pain that I have is totally shifted with the poetry. Because now it's so much more different. And I think grief a lot of the time is just the way you view it. It's all based on how you view it. So when you view it from a different aspect and a different light through poetry, and you're able to fight with the pen, you're like fighting, you're questioning, and then come to some conclusion, some resolution where you can look at it. I think that's like what really kind of drove home that I really don't want to go to Jives and share poetry. Like this is what's helped me,
Yeah. What is it like nowadays being in high school with that kind of tragedy? What kind of support and what's it like? What are the teachers, people in school, other adults? What is that like when you're a kid and two of your friends pass away?
I think
Take their lives.
I think it's like, well, to be honest, the teachers didn't help much. They're kind of buttholes. Like they sucked. Like one of them, Ton was in one of our class. The teacher didn't say anything about it. All the students walked out. All the kids that actually knew Ton, like nobody really like kind of like walked out. They just like these kids used it as an excuse to get out of class. Teachers didn't help. They refused to tell us how he committed suicide. It was really tough. They like didn't help at all. Like they were really like buttholes about it, I think the most support I got was the teachers that just let me sleep in class because I wasn't getting sleep. So that was like honestly the best support I got from teachers was teachers who like didn't care about my grades and just let me sleep in class because they knew that I needed it. They're like, this kid's like he probably isn't getting sleep. He needs to sleep in class. And that was honestly the best support I feel like I've gotten through high school. But I mean, you learned how to live with it too, to a certain degree. You realize that like, then people aren't gonna accommodate for what you've been through. You gotta just somehow find a way to accommodate for yourself.
Well, it does seem like you found a little group of friends at least. So
Oh,
you do
how
have
did I
some.
forget
It
that?
sounds like you have some support. How is that?
That's like the most beautiful thing. I have no idea. Like that. Yeah, no, that's like the whole reason that we're pulling through together. My friend group has just like. They're like the most amazing people I've ever met. Like the glow in their eyes that I'm talking about, those are all my friends. Like RJ, David, Israel, like all of them. Like, it's just this group of just connection that I can't explain. It's like when you meet somebody, you're like, this isn't like the first lifetime that I've known you. Like this is something deeper, and it's like that's something that really like has helped me pull through. And it's just like connect. Yeah, no, that was serious connections. And that vibe, you know what I mean? I don't think you get that around the corner. I think that's what really cultivates the good music that we're making and the good art coming forward,
Yeah. Now, I know we were talking about you have this freestyle thing you wanted. What does that actually mean, by the way? When we use these phrases and words about things, and sometimes, especially people who are not necessarily into it, don't.
Yeah.
What does that even mean when you say the word freestyle?
Think about it like when you're a musician and you're just gigging and you're just doing it on the spot. Think about it kind of like that. Think about like when you're a musician and you're just gigging on the spot. It's like piano player's playing this and then bass player has to like figure something out and the drums has to figure something out. It's like that. You have the beat and then you have to find words to figure it out. It's like making poetry on the spot, rhythmic poetry, It's like finding out words that rhyme and cleverly putting them together to express yourself, Just right on the spot, off top of the dome, No pre-written, just fresh.
So before we talk about some freestyle, we probably should talk a little bit about Jives, because that's where we met and that's where we are here today, and we love it so much here.
Shout out Jives.
Yes, we do have to shout out Jives. How did you find Jives? What is that? What was your experience here?
My friend Israel found it. He was like, guys, I found the best indie place, guys, so that I can meet a girl and fall in love. And this is the best place ever, guys. And he was like freaking out that he's gonna meet some girl and like fall in love with the coffee shop, and it's gonna be his indie fantasy. And he's gonna go on these open mics, and we were like, all right, we'll check it out. And so we go there, and then like,
how's that going for him, by the way? Is he
it's actually going
ladies
really...
of his life here yet?
No, it happened.
Maybe?
No, it happened.
What has happened?
Yeah, no, he met this girlfriend of his, and now, it worked out perfectly. It actually went like once in our lifetime, it actually went according to plan, so that's kind of crazy.
Well, here's another plug for Jives. You might meet the love of your life here.
Yeah.
That's a new plug we got for him. How long you been coming here?
It's been only like a month or two, I think, that I've been coming here, but.
Really? So about the same time as me, about?
Yeah, I know. Like around the same time you popped up is the same time I started like kind of actually going to these, and it was, I mean,
life changing, huh?
Yeah, no, really, it's a good experience, just meeting all the different types of people, and I think it's like your first ability to express yourself in front of a group of people. You know what I mean? Like we've done concerts before, but it's definitely like more. I like it's like the loose feel of it. It's not as rigid, It's not as like. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even take up all my set time all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, they're welcoming here.
Yeah.
They're not pressuring you to do it just a certain way, and no one's judging you. It's just kind of,
You just show up
it's
however
welcoming.
you are.
Yes. Check out the last episode with North Star, and you'll see how welcoming it can be. So, was there some other stuff you wanted to do before the freestyle, or you want to do some freestyle?
Well, now that you mentioned it, I think I'm ready.
Let's do some freestyle. All right. I'm going to step out again, and let's see what we got.
All right. So I guess I'm doing an acapella. No telling when I'm gonna be. I'll tell my mom I'm gonna be like Rockefeller. It's that type of monopoly money that I want in the future. I don't want to be no little kid. I want to be the big fish, the type of shit that the feds search for when they're looking through these files and court files, man. I don't understand the way that life files this way to me. Usually files this way, it's not A to Z, it's all disorganized, just like the room my father yells at me for. Well, of course, on these dreams I can't afford, I can't source. I come on this ship, man, it's got all these cans of swords is packed up in my ribs. I can't get up all these shivs up in my back, but that's alright. I got these bandages off on my eyes and it's losing sight, but that's alright. I'm still out here chilling. I'm out here chilling. I'm here with my friends, man, doing a Smokin Poetry Podcast. You know that we on that. You know this is a car set. Never signing a soul, never signing a contract. You know that we doing this. But I'm just doing it for the fun of it. Doing it for the fuck of it. Doing that, they'll bleep it out later. Edit all this sensory shit and all that. I'm in this shit with all sets. Doing this shit with my friends and it's all facts. So make it past all that judgment and arguments. I remember days my mom yelling at me saying, boy, you better get them grades up. Boy, you mother, I'm doing no slave labor. I'm gonna get this shit past the $7 an hour. Wanna do this shit, motherfucker, and drive that car for miles. And not worry if it's gonna break down. Worry if it stays down. I just want the beats that I break down. Motherfucker, call this shit a shakedown. The way that they pat me down at them checkout lines. Did this shit unsigned. I want this shit be unsigned, but still write lines that they'll pay me for to sign checks for that. That's just the way that I rap, and that's just the way that I'm in that. Sometimes I mess up, but I get back up on my 2 feet. Like Muhammad Ali, bitch, I hit you with that right hook and you won't see light again.
Wow. So I assume you've thought of some of those rhymes before, a little bit. No?
No.
You just do it like that?
Yeah.
That is pretty, that's pretty amazing. We're going to have to, next time we see you, we're just going to have to start putting you on the spot with freestyling, because that's actually very impressive. I'm going to ask our studio audience, what else do we need to ask Eamon? What's the studio audience here? No? They're just smiling. I got some laughs and smiling. No other burning questions or secrets that we should reveal? Come on, dude, you gotta. What are you thinking? What else am I asking him?
Asked about my first kiss.
First kiss.
Never happened.
Great question.
My pillow. It's like 5 years old. It's like the equivalent of Playboy magazines when I was them.
I don't know what to say about that, but what else do you want to tell people about you before we kind of close out things a little bit? That's a lot already. I mean, you don't have to say anymore, but
just one day, bro.
Yeah. We're gonna make sure we get all the link, description stuff, all the fancy writing of the band, and where you can be found, and YouTube, and wherever else you may be. And this was very fun.
No, thank you guys for coming on. Shout out Mike for this podcast, Smokin Poetry Podcast. These guys are amazing to work with. They're really cool. Love them to death. They're amazing. Drives is really cool. Shout out Drives. Come to Drives for your coffee. They have really sweet coffee. And it's really caffeinated. I'm very hyper right now. So, yeah. Check out their podcast and check out Drives.
Yes. Well, as I say, we're going to have so many more episodes because, as I say, I consider all artistic expression poetry. But today we got some formal poetry. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
And I was going to do the shake hand, but this microphone makes it awkward. So we got to do it this way so we can all see it. So thank you, Eamon Weber. And thank you to Jives. And see everyone next time on Smokin Poetry Podcast.
Thank you.